Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi. In this video we're going to take a look at the figures that came out for the cartoon Pirates of Dark Water. In front of me you can see a full set of the 8 figures that came out. We have 4 good characters on the left here, led by Ren, and we have 4 bad evil characters led by Bloth, as you can see in the back. So let's take a look at each one of them individually, and I'll give you a little overview about what the Pirates of Dark Water was all about. The Pirates of Dark Water was a cartoon by Hanna-Barbera with toys produced by Hasbro in 1990. The sort of basic idea for Pirates of Dark Water was a group of people trying to collect 13 rare gems on the planet Mer while being chased by the evil Bloth and his pirate ship, and also trying to avoid the very dangerous dark water, which was a sort of evil part of the ocean which tried to sort of overtake the planet. The figures themselves, as I said, were produced by Hasbro. They're pretty nice actually for this sort of era of toys, because each figure is distinctly different from the other ones. There's no reuse of parts, and they're all varying in scale as well. Some are quite large, some are quite small, and each figure came on a card like this. You've got a figure and at least 1 weapon. Some came with 2, and evil characters came on a sort of blue-green card, and good characters came on a sort of orangey-yellow card. I've only got 1 carded version of this figure at the moment, which is Mantis, but they're fairly straightforward to find carded. Actually, it's actually finding them loose with weapons that is the real problem. So on the front you've got a nice bit of artwork here. It shows the character in action and the name of the show, and on the back you see all 8 figures that you can get, and a little bit of history about the character at the bottom here, and a little bit of a sort of an overview of the story. So quite a straightforward card, but a nice lot of information. You don't actually see pictures of the toys themselves. It's always illustration, so you never really know what you're going to get by looking at the back of this card. You have to actually pick the figure up. So let's take a look at the figures themselves. So here we have the 4 good characters led by Ren. This is the sort of hero character of the show, and as you can see, the figure looks pretty heroic. They're all quite nice sculpts, these ones. Good sort of variation in size, as I mentioned. You know, you've got some smaller ones, some larger ones, and they all work roughly the same way, with quite limited articulation. This guy has 5 points of articulation, pretty common for a 1990s figure, with a pretty nice sculpt. Next in line after Ren is Isles. He's a bit more of a sort of a sculpt to his figure, quite nice, and a bit more of a pose, which is a little bit awkward because it means that he sort of stands quite funny, and there's no way of actually getting him to stand upright. But you know, these are 90s figures. There's always a lot of distortion in them. Then we have Zuli here, who is a sort of fatter character. Again, quite nice because it's so large and bulky. And finally, we have Niddler, which is the winged monkey bird. This actually has slightly more articulation because obviously you've got the wings on the back, the head rotates, and then also his feet rotate on his, as you can see here. So you've got slightly more articulation than some of the other characters. Also got a tail on the back. Now these figures are actually fairly straightforward to find loose, but it's almost impossible to find their weapons. I've been hunting for quite a while now to get weapons for these, and I've never seen them. If you get carded versions, obviously they have the weapons, but I don't really like opening old cards just for the sake of weapons. I'm sure at some point I will find them. And the other thing that I've found is a little bit of a shame, having watched the cartoons again recently, there's actually one main character that they've missed out of this hero set of the good guys, which is Tula. It was a female character, basically Ren's sort of love interest, and for some reason they didn't make a figure of her. I'm guessing Hasbro thought that kids, it's mainly going to be boys buying these toys, and they're not going to buy a female character, which is a real shame because she is quite a main part in the series. Actually a bit more of a main part than Zuli here, so it would have been better to have her rather than him. Let's have a look at the evil characters. Again, Hasbro produced 4 of the baddie characters here, led by the evil Bloth. And Bloth is an absolutely amazing figure. It's really quite large and bulky. They were all sold for the same price, so this must have cost Hasbro a little bit more than some of the other figures to make. He's got a fantastic sculpt, really nice lot of detailing on him, and some great sort of additional little bits, like the fact his eyes, he's got 1 good eye and 1 bad damaged eye. Quite just nice little additional bits of detail there. Great figures though, really nice sort of the fact to me that they're all different sizes really makes them look great. Then we come on to Conk here, who is Bloth's sidekick. Again, quite an interesting character because he's only got one leg and a peg leg, so it makes for quite a nice interesting sculpt. And in the cartoon series, this guy was actually voiced by Tim Curry, so some quite famous people involved in this cartoon series. Then we move on to Mantis, who is, I've shown you the carded version of as well. Bit of a strange looking guy, but typically sort of evil features there. And finally we have Jote, who I'm not quite sure what he is. He looks a little bit like a monkey or something. He's got one sort of hooked hand and one normal hand and a very strange face. It almost looks a little bit like Yak Face from Star Wars, but I guess it's nothing to do with that. So there we have the 4 evil characters. Again, they do look pretty nice, and the fact they're all different sizes does make them look particularly good when you have them on display. Overall, this set of figures do look particularly nice. It's a shame I haven't yet managed to find the weapons for the loose figures, but that's something I hope to do as time goes by. But even still, without weapons, they do look particularly nice. They've got a nice variation of colours to them. None of them look the same, which does make them display particularly nicely. And they are quite easy to find, so if you want to collect them loose like this, you can pick them up for a few pounds each. I think I paid no more than £3 for each of these figures, so not exactly expensive set of figures to collect. Carded figures will set you back somewhere between £5 to £10 depending on condition, and they're fairly straightforward to find as well, so even a complete set of carded ones is not going to cost you much to get. But they are nice figures, and from a sort of slightly late in my childhood, but a line of toys that do look particularly good and do remind me of a certain era in my childhood. So hope that's been of interest to you all, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter and Facebook.